Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live session with me back again this week. I hope everyone is doing really well. All of you have been really safe as well. Now, particularly tonight's live stream is going to be really useful if you are someone looking forward to give the test in recent future. In today's live stream session, we are going to talk about three important things. For the last couple of weeks, we have been talking a lot about what are the new changes that are going to come from November 16th. PTE is changing, their time is changing, different type of number of questions changing. A lot of changes are coming up. But we haven't talked about how these changes are going to impact you as a test taker. How you should be preparing yourself based on the latest changes that are coming up from November 16th. So in tonight's live session, we are going to talk about that. Also, we are going to talk about the basic, very commonly made mistakes in listening and reading sections that you might be doing. So just to make you aware of these kinds of mistakes and how you can avoid those mistakes so that you don't become another person who end up making the same mistake and losing some points. We are going to talk about those types of mistakes in both listening and reading as well. And last but not the least, we are going to also talk about some very basic strategies for reorder, which is one of the important questions from the reading section. So what you should be doing, what you should not be doing in when you're doing reorder questions in PTE reading section, we are going to talk a little bit about that as well. So I hope this whole session is going to be useful for you. So stay tuned with me. And let me know if you're here watching our live session today in the comment box, saying just hi, interact with me, and let me know if you have any question or concern, anything that we are going to cover tonight, and also anything else related to PTE test as well. All right, so let me go back to my slides. Let me share my screen with all of you. And let's start directly from the direct topic. So let's talk and go to directly slide number 4, implications for test takers. Let's start from that slide. Right, let me make my slide as well a little bit larger. Yes, so First implication, because test is changing, whole overall time is reducing, number of questions are also reducing. Some of you might think, all right, this is a chance for me to relax, take less preparation because question numbers are going to be reduced. From 3 hours, it's going to be 2 hours. So maybe I'll have more relaxed time, free time. But that's actually not the case. So yes, the test is going to be shorter, and also yes, different types of questions are going to be in reduced number, but still all the question types are still there in PTE test, right? Maybe you will have now less number of describe image questions, but still you have to answer describe image questions. Maybe you will have a 1 or 2 summarize spoken text questions instead of 2 to 3 questions. Now maybe you will have 1 to 2 questions, but you still have to do summarize spoken text, right? So the item types are not actually going to change. It's still going to be the same. So you still need to know these strategies. You still need to know the techniques of how to answer different types of item types. So it's really going to be helpful for you. So yes, even though lots of things are changing, what is not going to change is your preparation technique, how you're going to prepare yourself for the test, how you're going to learn about strategies, how you're going to practice different types of important questions from the PTE test. Another important thing is, even if some questions are changing, the most important questions from the PTE test are not changing at all. The question numbers are still going to be same for important types of questions. For example, read aloud, repeat sentence, write from dictation, fill in the blanks, both in listening and reading section are still going to be the same. So your preparation technique, either way, is going to be the same. So yeah, your preparation technique is not going to change. Right, now before we move to next slide, let's just go to the comments. So from Julie, hi Miss Noshin, how are you? I'm doing really well. A little bit tired, but I'm doing great. How are you, Julie? I hope you are doing good. From Tris, I hope you are doing well. Yeah, surviving, can't complain. I hope, Tris, you are doing well as well. Right, okay, let's move on to the next slide and see what else we have to think about. So we need to have clearer conception of different item types. Now look at the word clearer. I haven't said clear, it's clear. So whatever conception you have so far, you have to improve that conception to another level. Because what is going to happen, some question types are going to be less in number. It means from one type of question to another type of question, now you're going to move quicker. So what you have to do is you have to recognize and you have to memorize the question order. What type of question comes after another type of question? What is the instruction? What is the strategy of different types of questions? Because previously, you had 2 to 3 multiple choice questions, for example, and after 3 questions of multiple choice, you had fill in the blanks. But from now on, what is going to happen? Maybe they will give you just 1 multiple choice question, and quickly then you have to move to fill in the blanks question. So the transition from one type to another type is going to be faster and quicker. So you have to habituate yourself. You have to prepare yourself in that way, that instantly you just remember what type of question is this one, what are the strategies I have to remember, how much time do I have for this type of question, and how I'm gonna do this type of question. You don't have much time to think through like the past. So because question types are changing, number of questions are changing, now much better than before, you need to have better conception, better understanding of how different types of questions come in the PTE test, what is the instruction and what are the strategies of different types of questions. Because obviously when you're sitting for the test, they're not gonna tell you beforehand, now you're gonna do fill in the blanks, now you're gonna do written lecture. They're not gonna give you any heads up. They are just going to pop it up on your screen. You will look into it and instantly you have to understand what type of test question it is and how I'm going to do it. So better than before, you have to be much smarter, much quicker, and you need to have much better understanding of what is happening with different item types, how I'm going to go through all different types of questions successfully within the given period of time. Okay. From chat, Tina. Hi, everyone. Hi, Tina. I hope you are doing well and doing well with your school as well. All right, let's move on to the next slide. So another important change that you have to bring in your preparation is prioritizing the important questions. Now, if you have attended one of my classes or if you have watched last few live stream sessions, you know I keep repeating one thing, that in PTE, not all questions are same. Not all questions are important on the same level. Some are less important, some are more important, some are most important. So now from November 16th, because so many changes are coming up, so many questions are changing, what is not changing is the most important questions. And the questions that are changing and being reduced in number are the less important questions, least important questions. So what is going to happen is when you are going to practice from now on, you have to focus more into more important questions because you now do not have room for making mistakes in those types of questions. Because if in the past, what happened? In the past, you had 6 read aloud questions in speaking section, and you had 6 to 7 describe image questions. But after November 16, what is going to happen? 6 to 7 questions for read aloud is still going to be the same, but the describe image is going to change from 7 questions to 4 questions. So the more mark, what about the 3 questions that are going to reduce? That point is going to be transferred into read aloud, into repeat sentence. So more importance is going to be given, more point weightage is going to be given into the more important questions. So any mistake now you make in read aloud or repeat sentence or write from dictation is going to heavily impact your scoring. Okay. So now, because other less important questions are reducing in number, the overall time of the test is reducing in amount in hours from 3 to 2 hours. You do not have the opportunity anymore to make mistakes. Whatever mistakes you make, it's going to cost you a point. So when you're making and taking your preparation, be very vigilant with what you are doing, how you're doing it. Make a study plan of the all most important questions and practice those types every single day so that you are not making any mistake and risking your overall band score. Okay, so it's high time to prioritize the important questions just to be on the safe side and get your desired band score. All right, so there are 20 types of different questions. Divide your questions into important, not so important, moderately important, and least important. And then divide your time for each type as well. Spend more time into most important and less time into less important questions. Right, okay, let's move on to next slide. Another important thing that is going to change is the 10 minutes break that we used to have after reading section is being removed. So from November 16th, you will never gonna have that 10-minute break anymore right after you finish your reading section before starting the listening section. In the past, people used to use that 10-minute break to relax themselves, to refresh themselves, just to go outside for a while, using the restroom and come back again. This used to really help them to have their concentration back for their listening section, because in listening section, you have to do a lot of things. You need to have focus, you need to have concentration, you need to have better time management. So that 10-minute break used to work really good. But from November 16, you are not going to have that break anymore. So you have to plan. What type of plan? What you have to do is if you need to use washroom, do that before you sit for the test. Go there, go and use restroom before you sit for the test. Another thing is that you can do is grabbing a bottle of water. So when you go to a test center, maybe they will allow you to take water bottle, considering other requirements, you're fulfilling all the requirements. Take that bottle inside your room. So if you become thirsty, you can use that water bottle. Another thing is if you're giving the test in the afternoon or in the evening, and if you are someone who drinks or takes tea or coffee, limit that on the day of your test, because otherwise you have to go to the washroom frequently because you will be under stress. And the more you drink coffee or the more you take tea, it makes you go to washroom faster and quicker than other normal time. So maybe you just keep taking all those drinks on the day of your test, just to be sure like you're not going to be using restroom for the 2 hour slot, because if you go outside, you will not be able to answer some questions because they are not going to stop your questions while you're going to outside for using the restroom. So keep all these things in mind because you are not going to have that luxury anymore. Limit your drinking. Whatever you need to do it before you do the test, so that in those 2 hour period there is no distraction and you don't have to go away from giving the test. No other problem arises and you are relaxed. Okay, so keep this thing in mind when you're booking your test and also on the day of your test. So these are the 4 implications that we have discussed so far. You have to keep the same preparation technique. You have to prioritize most important questions. And then you have to plan in advance. Whatever the changes are coming, you can go through this perfectly if you just follow this implication for yourself. So that's what we are done with implications for the test takers. Now let's move on to the next slide on listening common mistakes and how you can overcome these mistakes. Now I am aware, like for most of this information, you are already aware of these things. You already know what are the different types of mistakes and how to overcome these. My purpose is to repeat these things over and over again for you so that you become so mindful of these things that you don't make these mistakes when you give your test. When it comes your turn, you don't make these mistakes and do something wrong. Okay, so the first important thing that happens in the listening section for so many people, losing concentration. So while they are listening to a long audio, maybe 1 minute long or 2 minutes long, it's quite possible that you become distracted for a few seconds or a couple of seconds. And it's also possible that in that 1 or 2 seconds, they told the answer and you missed it. It's quite possible. So if you are someone who realizes that I keep losing concentration when I'm listening to a long audio, a lengthy audio, and I can't keep myself focused, maybe it's time that you start working on that. Because if you don't, it may cost you points. Maybe in that few seconds break, they're gonna tell an important answer, you miss it, and as a result, you miss your band score in listening section. So one way to overcome is that you keep listening on a regular basis different types of audios which are very lengthy. So because the more you practice this way, the more your concentration span increases. So every single day, if you at least listen to 1 hour long audios, naturally when you listen 1 or 2 minutes long audio, it is very easy for you to have your concentration. So work on that. Another thing that you can do is practicing mindfulness or meditation. Maybe in between your study, if you take 10-minute break, maybe you look at some point, like imagine a point or some place, look at there without moving your eyes somewhere else for just 1 minute and see how do you go. If you keep making mistakes, like keep staring here and there, or you have strong focus on where you're looking at, that's another way of improving concentration. I know you have better ways of improving that. Just research and see what works for you, what doesn't work for you, because everyone has different strategies to improve their mindfulness and concentration. But yeah, work on that and keep this thing in mind that you may lose focus while you're listening to a lot of audios. So work around that. Okay. All right, moving on to next slide. Expecting that the recordings can be played more than once. I know that all of you already know that no recordings can be played twice, but still, sometimes some people have this assumption, like maybe I missed this time, maybe I'll be able to replay the audio again, or maybe I can record my answer again. But no, you can't. Everything that you hear and everything that you speak on the microphone, everything is one time only, once only. There is no second chance during the PTE test. All right, moving on to the next slide. So another mistake that people make in listening section is not checking remaining time frequently. Because in the listening section, after you finish summarize spoken text, they give you total amount of time. And you have to finish everything, every type of question in that specific amount of time. Now, what happens is people just assume they have time and they spend a lot of time in one type of question, maybe more than they are supposed to do. For example, when they're doing highlight correct summary or fill in the blanks, they just spend more than 2 minutes maybe in one question, and they forget that they don't have enough time to go to the write from dictation, because you need more time spending on write from dictation, because that's the most important thing. And also that's the last question as well from listening section. So your goal should be to submit each question, and before you proceed to the next question, look and check your left time. What time is remaining? How much time do you have? You have to be calculated when you are working on your time management skill. Very, very calculative. And you have to keep this thing in mind that I have to finish all of the questions much faster, because I need to reach to write from dictation while I have enough time, because there is a lot of things that you have to do to make sure you don't lose any point in write from dictation. So yes, please, all the time, check your remaining time once you submit one question, and another time when you start doing another question after clicking next, so that you are always up to date. How much time do you have left? How many questions can you do in the remaining time? Okay, don't make this mistake. All right, let's go to the next slide. Not making effective use of the erasable notepad. Very important. Some people think I can just listen and I'll remember. They have this kind of faith in themselves, which is great, but not during the PTE test time. Okay, if you think you will remember, trust me, you won't, because you are under stress. You are doing a lot of things, and you are doing listening section. It means you have already done speaking, writing, and reading section. You are already tired and exhausted. Your brain cannot take all these things anymore. So you have to use this notepad. You have to take note just to make yourself comfortable that I have all the information with me. And using this information, I can find out what is the best and right answer for different types of questions. But if you don't write, if you just heavily rely on your brain, you're going to be stressed out and you're going to lose your focus. You're going to be blank very soon. You will not have that energy to go through all the questions swiftly and quickly. So please, they give you that notepad for a reason. Use that notepad, write down notes, keywords, key information, key sentences from the listening section, from the audios. And make sure that you are not stressing your brain a lot more than you should be doing. All right, it's a very important thing. Use your notepad whenever you can possible. All right, moving on to next slide. Another important thing, and the last type of common mistake from listening section, is not following the word limit for summarized spoken text. So people become really confused between the word limit instruction of summarized spoken text and summarized written text. Okay, because the word limit instruction is kind of same. In summarized spoken text, your response should be within 50 to 70 words long, whereas in summarized written text, it should be in between 5 to 75 words long. So don't confuse that with summarized written text. You have to write using multiple sentences. 4 or 5 sentences should be fine, and your total word limit should be in between 50 to 70 words. So you should not write less than 50, or you should not write more than 70 words for summarized spoken text, because if you do, you will lose points. So keep this thing in mind when you are practicing. All right. Yeah. Then we have reading common mistakes. So we are done with listening common mistakes and how to overcome those things. Let's focus on reading common mistakes. So one very frequently made mistake on reading section is not understanding what you are supposed to do, because sometimes people just don't read the question properly, especially in multiple choice, single answer, and multiple choice, multiple answers. They just don't read the question properly. They don't read the instruction properly. And also when they are doing reading fill in the blanks, they don't focus on the sentences properly to identify what type of word is suitable for the blanks. They just focus on the blanks without looking at other sentences around those. But most of the clues, most of the important information to decide what is my right answer for the blanks are situated in those questions, in those sentences. So from next time when you are doing fill in the blanks or you are doing multiple choice questions, please make sure that you read the question properly. Even when you are doing fill in the blanks from reading section, there are two types of blanks: drop down and drag drop. Whatever is the type you are doing, please make sure you read other associated sentences before and after each blank, that you are 100% sure when you are choosing a word for the blank that yes, I know this is the word that is going to be applicable for this blank, because other sentences are giving me clues, giving me idea that this is what's supposed to be in the blank, this is the right answer, and I'm very confident about that. To gain that confidence, you have to understand the question without misunderstanding it. So don't make this mistake. All right, moving to the next slide. Trying to know the meaning of every word in the text. This is another important thing. When you are doing multiple choice questions, the text, the long passage, you don't have to know the meaning of every word. You don't have to be an all-knowing person, because it's all right. Obviously, PTE also knows that you won't be able to understand the meaning of every single word that you are going through, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, just read the passage using skimming strategy. Just go through it roughly, get a general idea, and that should be fine, because then when you go to the questions, it will be easy for you to understand where the answer is located in the passage. Go back there and read just that area. You don't have to read all the sentences word by word, because that's just a waste of time. And also, you don't have to know the meaning of every word. If there are some words that you don't know the meaning, but it is necessary for you to answer the question, look around, use your prediction ability, use your common sense, your educated guess. What can be the meaning of this word? How this word is used in this context? What can be the meaning? Just use your prediction ability, and you should be fine. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next slide. Selecting all or more than one option in multiple choice, multiple answers. So I have repeated it so many times before. So I'm going to repeat it one more time. In reading section and also in listening section, multiple choice, multiple answers question, you have negative marking. So if you think you're not sure about something, don't choose it. Even if it's multiple answers question, choose just one answer, not more than one, because that way, if that answer is wrong, you are not going to have point for the right answer. So for example, if you choose 3 answers, one is wrong and 2 others are correct, then you are going to get 1 point because 2 minus 1 is 1. So if you are 100% sure, only then choose more than one option. And this strategy is applicable also for listening section, multiple choice, multiple answers. So do things only when you are 100% confident about it. Otherwise, don't do it at all. All right, moving on to the next slide. Reading comprehensions, reading mistake, another type of mistake is reading each word in all the texts of multiple choice questions. As I said before, you don't have to read word by word to be able to answer the questions for multiple choice, single answer, multiple choice, multiple answer. It's still fine if you just go through this text roughly, and then read the question and find out which area of that question is coming up, from which area that question is coming up, and use that area only, read that area only. You don't have to go through the whole text over and over again for this. So you might use your skimming strategy, you might use your scanning strategy, and for a specific part of the text from where they are giving you the question, use your intensive reading strategy, your critical reading strategy. So just to give a brief overview, skimming means going through the whole text quickly to get a general idea of the text. Scanning means looking for a very specific information in the text. For example, you have read the question, and maybe in the question they have asked you to look for a specific date or a specific person's name from the text. So then you go back to the text, and then you read the text to identify that specific person's name or that specific ER number. That's what is called scanning, looking for specific information. And critical reading means just reading word by word intensively, understanding the meaning of the words, understanding the meaning of the sentences and what they are trying to say. Do this intensive training only for the area from what they're giving you the question, not for the overall text, because that's just going to be a waste of time. All right. I hope everyone is still with me. Just let me know if you're still here and listening to the audio and video in the comment, because otherwise I feel like there is no one watching the video. All right. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. Leaving answer boxes empty. Sometimes people do that because this happens not only in reading section but also in listening section as well. Sometimes if people are not confident about an answer, they feel like skipping is the better choice, but it is not. All right. So if you are not sure about an answer, like you have no idea about it, or maybe you're running out of time, you don't know what to do, in that case, even don't leave the answer boxes empty. Answer every question properly. Even if you're not sure about it, just guess randomly and then move on, because any answer, be it right or wrong, any answer has better chance to get a right point, a good point, than having no answer, right? So try not to leave any box empty and use your educated guess. Right, so let's go to the comment from Julie. Yeah, still here with you and thinking about my mistakes in reading part. All right, Julie, so what type of mistakes do you make, you think? Have you practiced different types of questions before from reading section? And if yes, what type of mistakes have you made? And you think how you can overcome those mistakes? Let me know. Maybe I can give you a quick tip if I have any idea about that. All right. Moving on to next slide. Let's start with 5 strategies for reorder paragraphs. So everyone knows reorder. Before I talk about these strategies, so everyone knows that reorder is from the reading section, and from reorder you get from reorder you get 2 to 3 questions in your main test. So it's important, and from reorder you don't get any point in any other section, so it's only for the reading section. So it's important but not as important as other types of questions. Okay. From the comment, fun. Yes, I made these mistakes frequently, reading and translating words by words to Vietnamese. Yes, see, I know it, because so many people do these type of things. It's just a waste of time. And you know what, fun? Multiple choice questions are not even important. You should save that time and use that in reading fill in the blanks or even reorder questions. That's more wise decision. That's a wiser decision. Don't do the same mistake again because you don't need to. And from November 16, you're just gonna get 1 or 2 questions, not even 3 questions anymore. So just for one question, you don't have to do all this hard work. Save that energy and use this in repeat sentence right from dictation, because from there you're gonna get a lot of points. Okay. All right, so now let's start with the strategy number 1. Start with the subject. Very important for reorder paragraphs, because what is going to happen, they're going to give you a list of sentences, 3-4 sentences in a very shuffled order. It's not going to be in correct order. So you have to figure out first, what is the topic of these 4 or 3 sentences? What is the main topic? Because when you understand what is the main topic, that's when you understand which will be the first sentence, which is going to be second sentence, which is going to be last sentence, whatever it is. So firstly, find out what is the general subject of the paragraph, what they are talking about, and then go with the other strategies. So start with the subject, read all the sentences first, identify the main area, main topic, and then we go on with other strategies. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Knowing the independent sentence. So what is independent sentence? Independent sentence is the first sentence that talks about that topic that you have just identified. So if we look at the example sentences here in the picture on my slide. So if we read it, from reading it, I figure out that the whole topic is all about vaccination. All right. They're talking about how vaccines are important, particularly how vaccines are important for school setting. How, if you are vaccinated as a child, it's helpful for you and also for the community to protect all of the people from different diseases, from the spreading of different diseases. So once you understand the main topic, now we have understood that vaccination is the main topic. That's when we are going to figure out what is our independent sentence. What is going to be the first sentence that introduces this topic? That's your independent sentence. And another way of figuring out the independent sentence is that this sentence is not going to be dependent on any other sentence or any other information. That sentence is going to be the topic sentence. Very simple, very straightforward, introducing the topic itself. Once you figure out that sentence, everything else becomes really, really easy. So the second step is knowing the independent sentence and put that on the top as the first sentence. Right, okay, moving on to the next slide. Two slides back, we need to move, not trying it out, maybe the next slide would be look for, yeah, add details. That's right. So once we figure out what is the subject and then what is the independent sentence, then it's time to add details to the information about our slides, about our question. So once we figure out what is our independent sentence, then we have to figure out what else they are talking about that specific topic. For example, in these 4 sentences on the slide, vaccination is the main topic, but they are not just talking about vaccination. They are also adding extra information. They are also talking about healthy school setting and how vaccinating the children will help them from spreading the disease in the society, in the school community. So once you figure out what is the independent sentence, what is the main topic, now it's your time to focus on the other details that will help you to understand what is going to be my second sentence, what is going to be my third sentence. So once you figure out those extra details, then you can easily find out, easily can trace it back and organize it as per the first sentence, second sentence, third sentence, and fourth sentence. So if we look at this example from the picture, the first sentence for this reorder question is going to be the number 3 sentence. A healthy school setting gives all students the best chance to learn and grow. This is what is the main topic, because the whole point of this thing is keeping everyone safe. And that's when comes extra details, adding details. So the second sentence is going to be, vaccines are very important to this effort. What effort? The effort is to keep everyone safe and keep them, helping them learning and growing to their fullest potential. And for that reason, we need vaccines. So vaccines are very important to this effort. So that's how you add details to the main topic to keep ordering in the right way the old sentences you have. Now let's moving on to the next slide. After adding details, we need to look for the links. Links are important. So what are the links? Links means linking words. For example, it can be and, but, however, moreover, therefore, finally. Or it can also be the words like because, for this reason, as a result, however, consequently. All of these things are linking words that link 2 sentences together, that bring a relationship between 2 sentences. And you have to look for these clues, you have to look for these things when you're doing your reorder. Very important, because that's how you check how one sentence is related to the another sentence, how I'm gonna how I'm gonna order all the sentences in the correct manner. So if we look at this example again, we have figured out the first sentence, which is, a healthy school setting gives all students the best chance to learn and grow. Then we have added extra details, other relevant information. So the second sentence is, vaccines are very important to this effort. Now, after that, for the third sentence, we are going to use our linking knowledge. Like, what are the other linking words that they have used? So the third sentence is going to be, for this reason, we require children aged 2 months to 18 years old who are entering or attending childcare, public school, or private school be vaccinated against certain diseases. So this sentence starts with the phrase, for this reason. So for this reason is the linking phrase here. And this word, this phrase, for this reason, links that sentence with the last sentence, that vaccines are very important to this effort. So that's how linking words link 2 different sentences together, combine 2 different sentences together to help you understand which sentence comes after what. So again, another very common example for reorder sentence linking words is using the phrase, for example. There will be so many sentences beginning with for example. And when you see this sentence, you already know this is not my first sentence, because first independent sentence never starts with for example. So you know this is not the first sentence. Another thing that you know is, because they are talking about example, maybe in some other sentence they have talked about the explanation. So you have to look for that explanation in some other place. That's how you order your sentences. So yeah, linking words really help. Moving on to the next slide. trying it out. So this is another important thing. If other strategies that we have discussed so far, figuring out the subject, identifying the independent sentence, then focusing on the details, and also focusing on the linking words and linking phrases. If all of these things don't help you, if you think these strategies are not helping me, because there is no one size fits all strategy for reorder. In PTE, they give you a lot of different types of questions, and there is no specific rule that can help you to answer all different types of questions, all different types of topics and context. So if you get some kind of question where you imply these strategies, but you feel like it's not helping you out, then the last way for you to do is trying out different organization. So what you're going to do is moving around different sentences in different orders. Maybe you try 1, 2, 3, 4, then you try 2, 3, 4, 1. Put the sentences in different order and see which one makes sense to you. Now, if you ask me, do we have that much time to do in between 2 minutes? Yes, you have, because there are only going to be 3 or 4 sentences. Even if you try each sentence once, it's going to be 4 times only. So 4 or 5 times only. And you don't even have to try 4 or 5 times, because very soon you're going to figure out what is the original organization of the sentences, original order of the sentences. So this you can try, like putting different sentences at the top as independent sentence, and then following that sentence putting other 3 or 4 sentences in correct order, and see if that makes sense to you or not. During this process, maybe you get some understanding, better understanding. Maybe you focus on more linking words and the sentences actually make sense to you. You read the sentences, understand what is the meaning, what is the story they are trying to talk to me, sharing with me. And then you can easily figure out what is happening in the reorder. So yeah, this is another thing you can really try and see what happens. Otherwise, you can always use those strategies that we have discussed so far. Look for linking words and also look for example sentences. If there are some example sentences, you already know before that there will be an explanation sentence. So trace back all the sentences this way. Another important thing that's not mentioned here, but I just remember, so I'm sharing with all of you, is that trace your sentences. The subject in first sentence is the object of last sentence. So if you organize your sentences in certain way, just if you see what is the object of first sentence, what is the main thing of the first sentence, that's going to be the subject of next sentence. So that's the proper way of stressing your right order of the questions. So if you're trying out different ways and you feel like something is not right or not sure about how to do something, just see what are the last few words of each sentence, because last few words of first sentence is going to be the subject, the first few words of the next sentence. So that is another way of checking if you're on the right track, doing the right thing or not. All right, so we have another question from Tris. What if in those options there are 2 independent sentences? Would one of them be the starting and the other is the ending sentence? All right, so to begin with, there will never be 2 independent sentences. All right, there will always be just one. If you feel like there are 2 independent sentences, maybe we're thinking it in a different way. Maybe our thinking is not on the right direction as the question. So there will definitely be clues in those sentences that make sure one is independent, the other is not. So if, for example, we look at this picture on my slide as an example, there is a possibility maybe some people will think, according to me, according to the right answer, number 3 is the first sentence. A healthy school setting gives all students the best chance to learn and grow. For some people, they may say, vaccines are very important to this effort is the first sentence. Okay, but there is a reason this is not the first sentence. And the reason is, when you read this sentence, vaccines are very important to this effort. What is this effort? What effort they're talking about? That question comes up. right? So it means whatever the effort is, they have mentioned that in some other sentences. So that would be your first sentence, not this one, because we know from knowledge that what is the independent sentence? Independent sentence introduces the topic. It does not refer back to any other topic. So it will not have any words like this, that, he, she, however, moreover, all these types of words. If you see all these types of words in a sentence, that definitely means it's not my independent sentence, because it will not refer back to other things. I hope that makes sense, Tris. All right, so that's all for tonight from my side. I tried to cover all these important things so far. It's time for question answers now. Let me know if these strategies were helpful for you for reorder, and also other common mistakes from listening and reading section that we have covered, and also the other implications that apply to you because new changes are coming up. So in any case, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment box, and I'll try to help. From Trees, create strategies, I learned a lot. Yep, thanks, Trees. I hope it was helpful. Yeah, reading can be really confusing sometimes, I know. And not all strategies can help you. You just need to do a lot of practice to figure out how things are working out in reorder questions. From Julie, really helpful. I found the reasons why I couldn't get my desired score. Right. Okay, then I'm really grateful to you, because I think my strategies really help you out. And since you said you could not get your score, Julie, so it means you have given the test before, right? So yeah, work on your areas of improvement where you think where you need to change your strategies, because sometimes people say I need to do a lot of practice when they don't get their desired score. They think practice is the solution, but no, actually practice is not the solution. First thing you have to fix, where is the problem, and then how to fix that, and then you have to work on following the practice. Okay? So simply practicing will not help you. Work on your problems where you are focusing, keep changing the strategies, do the right way, and then practice. Yep, you're most welcome, Julie. And also one more thing before I forget, just in case, if you are wondering about new updates or anything from us, just keep checking our Facebook page all the times for all the recent updates that we are going to have very soon, right? So we are definitely going to have new events coming up, new tips, new vocab, all new things. And obviously when we have new updates from official Pearson website, we're going to share that as well, regarding the latest changes, how it's going to impact. Going to release more information later on in November. So please keep an eye for all the new updates on events and other stuff on the Facebook page of PTE Leader. And in any case, if you have any question or concern anytime, just contact the page. The admin team is going to help you out with anything. Right? Okay. So from Julie, I learned a lot every Thursday. Thanks for your tips. Really practical. You are most welcome, Julie. That's why we are here, right? Just to help each other's out, sharing the strategies. And you can also compare how you're doing so far. What are the things that you are doing different? And how to fix that. So yeah, Julie, you're most welcome. From fun, have an amazing night. You too, fun. Here it's already late night, so I hope you have a lovely night ahead, fun. And have a lovely sleep as well. Right, okay. Any more things that you want to ask me or share, just feel free to put that in the chat box. And if you don't have any other question or concern regarding today's topics, I'll see you again in any other workshop or from PTE Leader. All right. Till then, stay safe, stay happy, practice PTE, and in case you need any help from us, just let us know. We will be more than happy to help you out. All right. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye, Julie. Yeah, you also take care. I'll see you soon again, hopefully. All right.